have a motion, we approve the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Thank you, Tim. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we are here because there's some paperwork missing and some that's not complete. Qualify a couple candidates, and Chris, will you give us your wisdom on this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, more specifically, this board wanted to have this hearing to review some paperwork and give the board the option to challenge the qualifications of any candidate for the May 19th primary ballot. Of course, at this stage, all that can be done is a challenge. You can't really disqualify anyone at this stage. It's just a vote as the superintendent to challenge. And if the board does vote to challenge the qualifications of any particular candidate, then just like we did 2 years ago, there would be a hearing set at a later date so the board could accept evidence, hear testimony, and that sort of thing to officially decide on the qualifications. So again, today is just to determine whether this board wishes to challenge the qualifications of any particular candidate.
And Rebecca, make everybody a copy of the Declaration of Candidacies. You want to take a look at it for a minute, and then we'll entertain a motion. Rebecca, did Paul sign an oath for the Republican Party?
It's, everything is attached. I believe he has 4 documents.
Yeah, three. It's the second.
Second.
I did not receive the backside of his declaration. All the copies were pre-made when I received them, which the backside just tells us how he paid, but I still did not receive the backside from the copies that were given to me.
We need a motion before we can discuss this. Somebody like to make a motion?
I will. I'm going to make a motion that the board initiates a challenge based on two things. Mr. Harris is missing the required Republican oath, and Mr. Lee has a section that was not notarized, and like Rebecca said, the back of the document is missing.
I'll second it.
Just for clarification, that's a motion to challenge the qualifications of
Both.
Mr. Lee and Mr. Harris. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Any discussion?
I mean, what are we allowed to discuss, or what is appropriate to talk about?
pertains to these two items, so.
Well, if I can, this is the Republican Party. I guess the list of names that they qualified.
Read that out for us, Jim.
Yeah, this is the Republican Party's list of names that the actual party qualified. And there are 5 names on this list, and Chuck Harris's name does not appear. So, and this is signed and notarized by everybody in the party. So the party did not feel that they, in fact, qualified Chuck Harris for this. I read through what the attorney had written in the, they're calling it a temporary restraining order and notice of hearing. And the court finds that the Republican Party, let's see on page 3, the court finds that the Catoosa County Republican Party has the court finds that Mr. Harris has been removed from the Catoosa County Republican Party by resolution of Catoosa County Republican Party on March 18, 2025, and the party resolved that Chuck Harris is hereby banned from qualifying as a candidate for the Catoosa County Republican Party in any capacity as it is stated in the resolution of the party dated March 18, 2025. So the court acknowledges that. The court further orders the Catoosa County Republican Party to provide documents to the election office that declaration of candidacy and affidavit to the election board for voter registrations online. I think there was some money that had to be brought here. And the only thing it says is that they're hereby ordered to deliver the declaration, candidacy, and affidavit. Training requirements, acknowledged affidavit, and payments submitted to Catoosa County Republican Party to the Catoosa County Election Board and voter registration and to place into the hands of Rebecca Cason, Director of Catoosa County Election Board. And it's to be done by 4 p.m. at the Freda Center. And then the court order just says, if the defendant, which is the Catoosa County Republican Party, fails or refuses to deliver the declaration of candidacy and affidavit, then the election board and voter registration online above, the plaintiff is entitled to qualify with the Catoosa County election superintendent at their offices. They delivered it. It was brought in here, the things that the judge required. So the way I read this is that the election board here or the election office should have never qualified him because they did what the judge asked. And obviously, the oath, which is a very important piece of paperwork, which was brought up 2 years ago, the fact that people had signed the oath, so that's what makes them part of the party, is not here. It's not signed, and the Catoosa County Republican Party, when they submitted their list of qualified candidates, Mr. Harris is not on that list. And I mean, that's what they put on the door out here and brought over here on that Friday. So there's multiple problems. Notwithstanding the fact that the judge admits and puts in the record that Mr. Harris was removed from the party and was not able by the party to run as a qualified candidate. I mean, we just saw in Tennessee where 39 people, I mean, this may not be relevant, but 39 people were just removed. It was all over the news yesterday.
I have two questions, if somebody can answer this for me from the Republican Party. Did y'all accept Mr. Harris's money for qualifying? Anybody here from the Republican Party that can answer that question?
Mr. Chairman, I can, you know, that Friday morning, Judge House verbally ordered that Mr. Harris pay the full qualifying fee directly to Catoosa County, and then Catoosa County cut a check back to the Republican Party for its half of his qualifying fee. And that was done that Friday morning, and I personally delivered the check to a Miss Donna Evett at the place of qualifying there on.
So the judge ordered it, but the Republican Party did accept half the money.
I mean, she took the check. I mean, I left the check with her. I don't know if that check has been cashed or not. That I do not know.
I feel like we're crossing into what probably needs to be hashed out in a hearing. And right now, I'm strictly looking at paperwork, what we do and don't have. Just objectively, we don't have.
Well, this is what I noticed, that Chuck Harris signed this on March the 2nd, his paperwork, and the oath is missing. Paul Lee signed his on March the 6th, and he was given the oath. So why was Mr. Harris not given the oath
Right,
on March the 2nd?
Yeah, all I'm saying
and
is-
Paul Lee given it on the 6th?
All I'm saying is that, I feel like is information for a hearing, rather than just like, do we need to proceed with, and, you know, with that side of things. And to Jim's point, I do think that this is hard to reconcile, having this, you know, hanging outside of our office with 5 candidates, and there's 6 at the Secretary of State's website. I do think that's a question that, you know, might be answered later, but, you know, we're an office that has to keep every bit of paperwork exactly right, so it doesn't matter. But that wasn't included in my motion, so however you wanna.
The other question I wanted to ask Chuck, did you receive the oath?
Can I approach?
Yes, sir.
This is my videos of the entire exchange. This is a transcript from that video. So when I went in, 3 ladies were sitting at a table to the right. Donna Evett, Joanna Hildreth, Regina Gray. Donna Evett says the paperwork's over there, pointed to a table with paperwork. It was put together, I picked it up, I filled it all out. Regina Gray says right there. So I do that, I bring it back over, and I've got a video, uncut video. Joanna Hildreth points to a sign on the table and says the paperwork goes here. At that point, she goes, this is where it's turned in, which he did, he just turned it in. Regina Gray, looking through my paperwork with Joanna Hildreth, Joanna says it's all turned in. He turned it in. She again says he turned it in. And then she says, Joanna Hildreth, looks like he's got it done. I ask, are we done? Joanna says, we've got your paperwork. I can't tell you who, the person in charge of the paperwork was the Catoosa Republican Party. They've already shown they can't even do a notary. So they had possession of all the paperwork I turned in, and then was ordered by a court to bring it here. Now, the night they brought it here, they had to make 2 trips because he lost some of my paperwork and had to come back the second time. At that point, it looks like he should have made 3 trips because they didn't have my loyalty oath. Now, when I fill something out and give it to them, I don't get to take it back.
You didn't keep a copy.
No, sir. I did it right there. She said, there's your paperwork. I filled it all out, gave every bit of it to them. She said, I said, are we done? She goes, we got your paperwork. I left. I trusted him. Clearly should not have.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think this is the right
That's fine.
setting for this, just because we have one half of the story, we don't have the, I just don't think this is the right time.
Well, I got a video I can play you that's
Right,
the
and we
entire story.
would do that at the hearing,
Yeah.
and I think that's the
I don't think
appropriate
this
place.
needs to go to a hearing. I think it's pretty clear what's happened. I spoke out 2 years against them. They got it in. They started from the beginning. The hearing was to show the illegal motion of trying to kick me out of the Republican Party. They don't own the Republican Party. I've been a Republican my entire life. They don't own that party.
Let us finish what we do. All right, Jennifer, will you read the motion back?
So, my motion was to, based on the paperwork that is in front of us, we are missing from Mr. Harris an oath, and we're missing from Mr. Lee a notary signature and the reverse side of his, whatever that document was. The last document. And on those grounds, I believe the board should initiate a challenge.
Anybody else have any questions?
So I went, this morning, I went through everybody that qualified with both parties, to check notaries and stuff like that. I did find one, it was with, Ms. Vant, actually. Her paperwork was turned into us on Friday at like 11:59 a.m., so, and the deadline was 12 o'clock. She paid with a money order, and the money order was not signed. So, the CFO, actually, we gave all the money to the, our accounting, and they actually called her and asked her to come in. So, I mean, if you're talking, I mean, and I have a copy of that money order here that,
I mean, we can add that to the motion if we need to straighten that out too. I don't know.
but yeah, but everybody else's looked fine. I mean, I checked, I mean, but yeah, that was the only one that there was missing.
I think the way to handle, I mean, there's a motion and a second, and then if there needs to be, once that's voted upon, if there needs to be another
Can I take it?
motion, the board can take that up at that time. But there's a I mean, I'm not saying, you all still may have more to discuss, but there's a motion and a second, and that's gonna require a vote.
Was the motion for just, Chuck Harris, or did you include Paulie in
I
that?
did, both.
You want to amend that to
So-
include Ms. Vant?
I mean, I'll look at it and then we can regroup if we need to. But this is what I came in prepared for.
What is missing on all these paperwork?
Just the, so there's a front and back side to, the declaration, and you can see it on Chuck Harris's, there's a second page to his. It just shows how they paid. Like I said, the copies were already made for me when they were delivered to our office, so, I mean, again, it just shows how he paid. So I just didn't get the back side of that copy, and then the notary stamped it, but she did not sign it. Now, she did stamp and sign other documents in his paperwork, but there's just no signature for the notary.
Who brought Mr. Harris's paperwork in?
Brett Fant brought it at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
So they missed the deadline.
So he was ordered to bring it by 4.
Read that motion one more time, Jennifer.
I move that we initiate a challenge for Mr. Harris and Mr. Lee. Mr. Harris because of a missing oath, and Mr. Lee because a missing notary signature and partial document.
If we pass that motion, that will set off That was for hearing.
That will trigger a hearing to be determined at a later date. And it would be my, there's still another day left for electors to file challenges, so, I don't believe we have any yet, so I don't know if there'll be other challenges. But yes, there would be a hearing set at a later date. Since basically what we did 2 years ago at the courthouse, a formal hearing where the board can receive evidence.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Here.
I'm going to vote against the motion also, so the motion's defeated.
And I don't see any reason to call this into question, so.
If there's no other business to come before this board, we have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.